Hey, this is Nick the Mining Book Guy, and today I'd like to talk about something people wouldn't necessarily associate with mining, and that's the generational view of things. More so than just demographics, I think generations have, you could call it its own pseudoscience or even social science in a way, but it's not well understood. There is one clear expert in this area. We'll start by going through some of the books. So Generations, this book was written in '92 by Neil Howe and William Strauss. Unfortunately, William Strauss, he passed away some time ago, but Neil Howe, I really feel, is moving to the mainstream ever so slowly with the help of Hedgeye, though. I'll mention that at the end of this video again. I think it's important to realize, because this book was written such a long time ago and still has something to say about the future, including this complementary book, The Fourth Turning. If you're only going to read one, this is the one to read, but there is some overlap, but The Fourth Turning really gets into predictions that seemed to have come true, and that one was written in '97, so we're almost 20 years forward, and a lot of things really fit in from a generational perspective. It means you should be listening to what Neil Howe says now, and incredibly, I can't even think of one other expert that really understands this stuff. The one author who's still talking about it. So the best place to start are those books. But it's amazing that you can have a macro view of the world based on generations, but you can also understand more about yourself based on when you were born and your own experiences. And these are good examples of that. I'll actually start with Millenials Rising. So again, also Neil Howe and William Strauss. I didn't actually finish this one because I got a little bored, because millennials, you hear about them in the news a lot, but as a generation, they're kind of boring. On the other hand, this is my favorite book that they've written, 13th Gen, Abort, Retry, Ignore, Fail. Very few people know this book, also from the mid-90s. This was before Gen X was became known as the term, and they did coin millennials, which is pretty amazing. A lot of people don't realize the influence they've had. But Gen X is a much more fascinating generation to me, and they are coming to power as adults that are entering the political realm and in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. And I think that's why it's so important to understand who Gen X is at this time, even though you hear about millennials over and over. And from my perspective, I'm kind of borderline, based on when I was born, and so I can relate a little bit to both sides. And baby boomers are ahead of that. Without going into too much detail, understanding where you fit in and then where people at large, fit in, I think it really, really helps you understand the world better. But keep in mind that all of this is based on U.S. side of things, and so other countries, it is a little more complicated to kind of fit it in to different countries. But I think there's a lot of work that could be done on this that is very practical, can help you predict the future, and from a mining perspective, it is definitely helpful too. I'll get into that in a future video, but if you're interested, take a look at these books. I do have some bonus material if you email me at miningbookguy@gmail.com. It's kind of a shortcut or complimentary. I can send that to you for free. And definitely check out Hedgeye on YouTube. I'll have a link to that too. I don't subscribe, but it's awesome. And there is one really great initial video with Neil Howe on there, and there's going to be more because he works with them. So props to Keith McCullough and Hedgeye for bringing Neil Howe on board. And you know what? They brought Jim Rickards on board as well. I'm not paid by Hedgeye or anything at all, but I'm promoting them because somehow they have Neil Howe and Jim Rickards, like two guys that a few years ago nobody was talking about. So that just kind of adds to the interest here that these guys are going mainstream, and it's really neat to see that books from years ago are just as relevant today. So more on generations in the future, but there's a lot of cool stuff to check out right now. Again, this is Nick, the Mining Book Guy. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.